Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you all for coming. We need participation to understand the needs of our town, and we're grateful for the participation. Thank you for coming tonight. We need the participation to understand the needs of our town and to react appropriately up here. There is a motion that I presented Friday that could fall into the late file category to revisit this very issue about the vote. Basically, I decided to bring it forward because it becomes very cloudy about what really happened, and I participated through the whole process. It's cloudy to me. What happens when someone speaks to you and asks you to serve on an ad hoc committee and says, let's get a 4-bodied committee, which obviously means you need 3 out of 4 to advance anything, suggests that we're going to have balance. And I do believe, and I'm very grateful for Councilor Rugo, Councilor Dagwan, and Councilor Farnham's efforts through the ad hoc committee that brought forward the issue. I nominated Tom Rugo as the chair. That was the first move I made. And Tom refused, and he nominated me and wanted me to be the chair. I served as the chair that day. We took several caucuses. It was a very positive environment. The manager had caucus time to speak with his family and his lawyers. And we arrived at some paperwork at the end of the day that went to a 3-to-1 vote and advanced forward. After that vote, the very next morning, I was asked to come into Town Hall, work with Ruth Weil and Mr. Houghton in legal. We brought back the human resource professional, and we drew from the report a contract amendment. And that's how the contract amendment came forward. And that night, it was a Thursday night, and that night was the first chance for a discussion and a report by that committee that was handpicked by John and agreed to be assembled by the President. We made our report. There's been serious understanding here of quorum, the numbers that counted, however it went at the end of the day. And we got out of that committee with a vote, and then we failed to hold quorum to have a vote that night. We dissolved the meeting, and the next morning I got on the phone and I was talking with John. And it was John's desire not to go till July 14th with this issue unresolved. This is another point where John Klimm and the President are the only 2 people available to do this, created the new meeting on the 23rd that you heard and saw on your screens that night. The vote went as suggested. Everybody understands the vote. But I think through the whole process, it was my full belief that when I got elected 8 years ago, that I went to John as the very first person I spoke to after winning the election. And I said, John, we got to figure out a way that we can work together. And that was my very first mission after being elected. And John and I agreed to pick up the phone and talk to each other whenever it was appropriate, whenever we had a problem, so that we didn't undermine the issue, so that we didn't undermine the integrity of this office, so that we had honest discussions, and so that he understood. When I called John in March and asked if I could speak to him, I told him that I thought I needed change in his office. I had not told any of the 6. I had not told any of the 13. I had not told anybody. I went to John, as per our agreement, and as per the agreement both of us have shared for 8 years, and told him of my feelings. This is nothing that came from the dark. This is nothing but an execution of an effort between discussions, thoughtful discussions, and then a decision by the manager and the President to allow the scheduling to occur. That's how we got to this place. And if you think it's anything else, you're absolutely wrong.